Hi, my name is Saad Alam. I'm the CEO and co-founder of citelighter. We're an academic research tool that helps students think and gives teachers with an easy-to-understand way to look inside their students' minds. About a year and a half ago, my little brother came to me and he's like, you know what, I'm going to drop out of college. And I said, you know what? Not going to happen. So I showed up at his dorm 2 hours later, and from 8 in the morning until midnight for 3 weeks, I pushed him through to the end of the semester. I noticed he had this repeatable research process that was incredibly inefficient. Go to Google, find facts he likes, copy and paste them, put them into a Word document, stop what he's doing, write some of his corresponding facts on a white sheet of paper, and then just freeze. So my co-founder and I decided to create a very simple and elegant solution. You highlight information. When you highlight it, we automatically save it in a cloud-based account. We let you enter in your own thoughts and comments while they're still fresh in your mind. We let you organize it so it accelerates your ability to draw conclusions, and we automatically create the corresponding bibliographic citation. You then push a button, and we take all that information and inject it into a Google Doc. So that way, as you're writing, you can reference your organized thoughts. We're currently being used in approximately 1,500 schools at this point in time. And what I'm going to show you is something really interesting. I was responsible for $3 billion worth of market research, and I'm not saying this is statistically significant, but I sure as hell know it's directional in nature. We had a bunch of students over in New York City, 11th graders, write a 3-page paper with 6 different sources. We let one group use citelighter, and we let the other group not use citelighter. We said, hey, how do you guys think you did? And what they said, as you can see, is that a larger percentage of students that use citelighter felt like they did better. But as they say, the proof of the pudding is in the pie. So then we went to the teachers and we said, hey, how did those control students do? They said, yeah, they got about a 73%. And then we said, how did the citelighter students do? 83%. That is a real difference. That is learning. That is efficacy. So then we went back to the students and said, hey, would you guys use this again if you didn't have to? And they said, yeah, absolutely. Now, since we were already letting students capture facts into their own personal accounts, we decided to let them start publishing them to the web in curated lists called knowledge cards. We currently have several thousands of them. They're getting page views in 7 digits. And then teachers came to us and said, hey, I want that too. So we let them start using that to publish Common Core aligned lessons, and they're currently being used in districts in grades 6 through 11. Now, this is where it gets interesting. We needed to find more tools for teachers. With the Common Core coming into play, they're going to be spending approximately 1 billion hours grading papers with no insight into them. And if you think they're upset now, they're going to be upset when that happens. So what we decided to do is, at 20 pilot schools, provide them with unparalleled insight. So as students do research, as they start reflecting on their facts, as they begin organizing content, as they begin writing, we are able to capture a tremendous amount of information because we're a browser extension. The only technology here that can absolutely do that. And we aggregate all that information to what we're calling cognitive prints. These are just a color-coded task analysis or a digital fingerprint of what your student is doing. We then aggregate this and we can begin telling teachers where exactly in the process their particular student is having problems. Now they don't have to waste time during class and they can actually figure out what is going wrong. This is incredibly important. But we also figure that this is a wonderful product for K through 12 students, but the reality is in higher ed, teachers don't have that kind of time. So we need to figure out a way to begin empowering students and take the onus off of teachers. So we teamed up with Dr. Tara Biran from George Washington University, and we started typing students. This is where it gets kind of cool. We found that performance-oriented students, or those students that just care about getting an A and just getting it done with, they wanted to see cognitive prints of other students in their class at any particular moment because it motivated them to work harder, and we started pushing them in pilots. Now, the other interesting thing is that we looked at mastery-oriented students. These are students who really care about the learning experience. They care about their grades. They said, you know what? I don't want to see what other people are doing in my class. None of that is important to me. I want to see how someone else better than me has done their work because I'm going to look at their process to actually improve mine. Because we're built on Google Docs and because we want to show students how they can work more effectively, as a group of students use citelighter on Google Docs and we take advantage of their collaboration features, we can essentially look at their cognitive prints and lay them out over time. Now we can begin telling students where their strengths are, where their weaknesses are, and how to actually improve. The business model. I want everyone to understand we are not a technology that just allows you to capture and paste stuff. We're a technology that analyzes different workflow processes and uses that information to help people get smarter. Right now, we're being used in 1,500 schools. We have a free product which allows students to capture and organize information. We have a premium version which allows them to export that to Google Docs as well as take advantage of the 1 million of credible articles from our partnership with Cengage Learning. We've recently hired on senior sales executives to have an institutional offering where we're providing teachers with analytics, the publishing capabilities, and Common Core aligned frameworks for thinking. We also think that you can take this technology and very easily leverage it into other industries as well, too. So I hope you guys vote for citelighter. I hope you guys have enjoyed listening to it and help hearing me pour my heart out. Thank you very much.
We have our first question from Laura.
Sure. So my question is about actual mastery of learning. So obviously it's a great tool to help complete assignments and get better grades, but you seem to be alluding to the robustness of the ability of, perhaps it's the digital fingerprints or the cognitive prints, I'm not sure which particular function, but tell me about how your product, either today or in the future, really does support deep mastery of learning, either in the skill or in a content area, and what it does for students and teachers in supporting that pathway.
Absolutely. So there are kind of two ways to look at this, right? The first way is that for teachers, you have to figure out how they can actually learn this information. So we've actually, in our pilot schools, gone through several different ways to present it to them. And more importantly, the whole goal is that within 30 seconds they should be able to understand it and then relay it back to their students. That is a learning process. We don't know how to do that yet, but we're getting there every single day. The second component is for students. The interesting thing is because they live in this digital world, they very easily understand what this information means. So, for example, right, the way we go about this is incredibly, we bring students in and we make them write 3-hour papers in front of us, and we watch over their back every single time. Then we actually flip the cognitive prints on them, and then we say, okay, I want you to take a look at your cognitive print and someone else's, and I want you to tell me how you are actually going to improve your behaviors to become a little bit better. And very quickly, because they can analyze the patterns, they go, got it. Is that the magic? Is that the silver bullet? Not yet, but I think we're getting closer.
Great, thanks.
Thank you very much. Second question.
Sure. Great presentation, thank you. It's a very interesting product, but it seems like there's a lot going on, right? You know, there's an annotation tool, then there's a collaboration component, then there's an analytics component, and then there's kind of a teacher group view. As you look out over the next year, what do you want citelighter to be known as? Like, what's your kind of cornerstone to this business? And are you willing within that to integrate with best of breed solutions that might already exist in some of those areas around the edges?
All right, so I'm going to answer the last question first. The answer is absolutely yes. I'm a bootstrap startup, literally scraping the bottom of the barrel. If anyone can help me to do it better, I'm absolutely willing to work with them. The first question, can you repeat it?
You got a lot going on.
Got
a year
it.
from now, what do you want to be known as?
Got it.
What's the one thing you got to ground this company on?
So the reality of this business, right, you kind of have a million different tools capturing content. You got Evernote, you got Scribble, which is a great company. It's nothing new and it's nothing exciting. At the end of the day, the analytics that we're bringing to bear are very, very interesting, and no one right now is at the intersection of those different components where they can begin analyzing it in the same way that we do. The most important thing to remember is a lot of these other companies are built with browser or bookmarklets. A browser extension, which people quote-unquote didn't like and my investors fought me tooth and nail on, is what actually provides you with that deep insight. You can't see all the other things that I can. At the end of the day, I'd love for a teacher to go, here's a great story. So we were using cognitive prints 3 days ago in a pilot school. And this one teacher says to me, yeah, this student, she's having remedial problems, and remedial reading problems. I'm like, all right, well, now let me show you the cognitive print. And what we noticed is that she was writing and reading, writing and reading, writing and reading in 2-minute intervals. And then we said, oh, it doesn't really make sense because it doesn't give her time to digest something. And then we said, okay, let's go look into the sources, and we just clicked on them. And we're like, oh my God, she's reading PhD level theses in 11th grade. So the reality is that she probably doesn't have remedial reading problems. She's just not looking at the right content, A, on top of it too. She just doesn't have the right process in place. That is impactful.
Okay,
so that's what we want to be known for at the end of the day.
Okay,
so
the
analytics.
measurement and analysis.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks very much. Ron.
Yeah. Again, nice presentation. Happy to be here. I'm an old guy and I've been in the space for quite some time. I think there is a precious number of minutes in the day for our instructors to do things. Do you see this pushing anything out and making more efficient, or you, in your reference of 1 billion hours spent grading papers, is this not an additional component on top of that?
So let's think about let's talk about a K through 12 teacher's day first, right? So they teach for 40 hours, deal with 3 hours of administrative bullshit, and then have to grade for 40 hours. They take a grade, they actually sit down with a student, and they ask them to go through an introspective process to say, hey, where in this did you actually go wrong? And the student kind of goes, I'm not really sure at this point in time, right? So the teacher very often gives a student a solution, and they're left kind of not sure what to do differently. This kind of information, we're not talking about our A-level students, we're talking about our D and C-level students who really need help. You can quickly show them where they went wrong, and all of a sudden you've saved them confusion, you've been more effective with your instruction, and it's replaced the time that you spent talking to them.
Thanks very much. We're out of
That's
time.
Thank you.
Great. Good job. Good job.